best person to start, especially because I'm the youngest. I'm gladly one. I'm happy. My name is Lorenzo Menakaya. I am an on-air personality. I do radio, and I'm a film actor and also a film producer. And the excitement is even more just because I'm sitting in the midst of people that I've looked up to all my life before I even joined the industry. And I started officially 2008 with a film called My Confession. I played Michael Zeroye's boy that was supposed to be sent abroad to move drugs or something, and he was caught at the airport and beaten to pulp.
My name's Afuluagu Mbaka. I'm a producer, I'm a director. I didn't just start directing, I came in as an actor. And that was years back. Because I remember the time we came in as far back as 93, 94,
Whoa.
if I'm not mistaken. You see, we had this phobia of being stereotyped. But with time, we understood more what acting is all about. You know, you have to be around character. You mustn't just be a lover boy for lover boy's sake. I remember even Teko Benson was still acting because on that set of Oracle Part 1, if you watch the movie today, you won't see me, but at the end credits, you see my name. Teko Benson was the...
was an actor?
Yeah.
Wow.
Shegu Arinzetu, Ejika Siebu, and so on and so forth.
My name is Okey, Ezugwu, or better still, Okey Productions. First of all, I must confess, I'm not the one that is always comfortable in face of a camera, you know. That's why I chose to be producing, making films, then acting. But that's my name, and it's been a very long trail, I would say. I think it's one of my elders there. So because I launched into the industry at 1996, 97. So that was my first time, and I had my first film I produced. Not my film though. A film I worked for somebody and it was 1998. Abused is the title. And you know, I came in through Kenneth Okonkwo, so came and took me when my parent left. So, and that's where that was my starting point. 1998, I think that was it. And it was like going to university, you know, coming into the industry. I don't know how people do come into it these days, but then it was like going to university because I was supposed to go into university. At that point in time, I ran into this system. So after comfortable 5 or 6 years, 2001 to be precise, that was when I was like, you know, graduated. And 2003 was when I did my first film, Rising Sun is the title. I had Kenneth Okonkwo and Genevieve in it.
Wow.
So
that was just the starting point, and from then, like you mentioned where we're talking there, every year one film.
Anytime I see anyone that produced the film that Genevieve is in, I hands off. But it's funny that someone that was working in those days also could write a script or do a script for 3 years. You know, then it would be like, I'm not sure they were even taking their time. They could just write for...
As a matter of time, they take more time.
They take more time.
Yeah, they are more serious than now. Okay, Brown Ena is my name, and the current chairman of Actors Guild of Nigerian Enugu State Chapter, also the chairman Nollywood Forum Enugu State. I met late Uncle Sam Loco in my street, then in Abani Road. I think he came to see Ikenta or something, and the excitement, I followed his car to Nico Hotel that very first day, yes. And from there, I became his personal assistant, and after gaining admission in Ebonyi State University, I started picking more interest. I had to join them in acting until I was casted for a role by late Ndubisioko, yes, and after doing about 15 out of the 32 scenes as youth leader, the owner, rather the executive producer of the production came to set one day and said, no, I don't like his color. It doesn't look good on camera and all that, so funny enough, that was the same day my roommate agreed to come to me on set, you know, to come and see what we are doing. So he also said he preferred the other guy, you know. They had to take me off that character.
And we shot the whole scenes that you've done?
Yes, we shot about 17 scenes. So for me, I can't tell, like, I can't comprehend it. And the director called me and said, Brown, and this is the owner of the film. He calls the shot. You can also be an owner of a film and hire off, so there's nothing much I can do. And being that these actors agreed to reshoot the whole thing, I'm just a helpless man on set. So, and that was when I said to myself, I'd rather start owning films than working for people. And to God be the glory, today I've made a lot of films for myself and good films. So that is where we are.
You see, just like what you can testify to, easier. You see, when you're producing, there are certain things you look out for when you're trying to do your audition or select your cast.
Yes.
And it's because of that I keep on telling people, even as an actor, you must not be in everything. He is here, we are friends. And I wouldn't say because we've not worked together, we'll quarrel. Do you understand? But I try to tell, especially people who are coming up new, somebody will come for audition is that after all I performed, they didn't select me. You must not be selected because you felt you did well, because whoever is producing knows what he or she is looking for.
And sometimes, even in that same audition, you can select for your next film.
Of course,
producers
of course.
do that. See,
They do.
I'm keeping this guy for another film. And you're there angry. Okay, stay like that now.
You see, being in the industry or part of the industry, you really have to carve an niche for yourself. Don't do it because Brown is doing it. Don't do it because Lorenzo is doing it. You can always come up with your own thing and you never can tell. If it's working, you know it's working. And if it's not working, you know it's not working.
Wow. And that Okey happens to be one of the most iconic Nollywood films ever made.
Yeah, I think so, because most places I go, they were like,
Sold.
It's sold.
And some of our best, the actors were the ones in it. I think Kimo was in it.
Nkemo was there, Chiwetalago was there, what's his name? Uwezoke was there. Emeka Mosu, who played my 2IC.
Ofia, Mbaka, and the rest of them.
Then Ofia Mbaka. But the film, or the work, the project that pushed me to the next level was the first African series to be on Netflix, to go on Netflix. It's called Crazy Lovely Cool, produced and directed by Obiemilonye. He said, I know you've been a radio presenter and there's a character in my series that's a radio presenter and I want it for you. And that was the beginning of a roller coaster of jobs and more jobs, with him. And in fact, it was scary because by the time I'd seen everybody at Deswa, Inawigwe, Ureke, your Ureke, by the way, the Ureke he introduced to the industry, from my understanding. I don't know if that's right. Am I right? Did you introduce Ureke to the industry?
Yeah. The way I see film is that you have to take out friendship. So I'm always telling some guys or girls that wants to be my friend, I say, if you become friend and you want to be an actor, you have a problem. Stay far, so that I'll see you normal.
Yeah.
And if you come close, I will always be thinking that my decisions are not right. It's something like that. So I say, stay far. If not, you won't understand it. Because I will put you up in an audition and I won't make any comment. I'll be looking at my guys because I'm feeling like maybe I'm biased, that kind of thing. So their decisions. So I gave her the script for her to have time. So she took it, and by the time she read, it was good. Even though on set, things begin to show up, but thank God we are here today. She's now in pro, and everything is working out. So that was it. It was good.
I'm excited that we are here. It's called Nollywood Round Table, right?
Okay.
But I've been meaning to ask. I'm not that close, So I'm happy that I'm with you now. So I want to know something because when I knew I was living in the East, you lived in Lagos.
Yes.
You were living in Lagos and you were making films a lot with people here. So that means you understood the River Niger Bridge.
Yes.
Because you knew how to bring people together. From Lagos to here. So you were at the forefront of making sure, people that were living in Lagos were always working with people that were living in Lagos. It's always the same. At a point, it was not like that anymore.
I think I try to be the Eastern guy, the only legacy as an artist, as a filmmaker you can do is just to live in people's mind, just like you mentioned, Urunya. You understand? I don't know, apparently she might be talking to other millions of people before talking to me. Because when I called her, before she shot my film, she shot another film, before even she shot my own, so she can easily say, it's on my film.
Okay.
It's not her first film, but I know at the time I met her, she wanted to do a new film in Nigeria, you understand? So when we talk about nepotism, you can say it lives in my head, but I cannot make mistake because I cannot choose you over who is better. If I have a Congolese that is better for what I want to do in this film, Omo, carry your suka, go back to village. When I come back there, we'll talk. But if you're good,
that's actually making you a professional because you know what you want and what we.
You know, God bless our soul. This is our guy. There was one scripture I was telling him. I said, no, you have to go and learn, because it's a Creole language. Creole is like a broken language in Sierra Leone.
Okay.
You know, the character is a rebel. You understand? It was one of the big projects I was prepping because I've been having this cold fight with me. People, brother, I never had. I said, the genre of kind of films doesn't fall to the genre I shoot. So, but this one, I kept it specific. I said, God, you will get it. I've given you this thing. I don't know the year I'm shooting the film, but get the Creole language, broken language. If you get it, you do it. If not, I'll use a local boy in that Creole town. You get? So it's like an assignment. I'm giving him heads up. So something like, you have to prep. This is the only thing I can do. Like giving you script, you know, my sister, okay, take this script, go and be reading it. When we come for examination, if you pass, if you don't pass that day, I don't know you for that. So that's the only thing I can do. So it's something that is a spirit that I feel each time if it leaves me, then I am defocused. And of course, your audience that is following you, then the way they would defocus if you mess up. So I'm mindful of that. So I'm always careful not to mess myself up, because your audience doesn't know who you are. So they're just following the creative you're creating. So that first film, Rising Sun, was like, it bettered me in the system. I didn't want to do any mistake. I went for the best writer at the moment, Chidi Chikere, and after writing it, it was like, I had to choose the best people. Who was it in Rave? Kenneth Okonkwo. But in Genevieve, Nigeria. But people were telling me this thing it's not possible. I said, okay, let me see. No, money matter now. I have to Rihanna. You understand? You calm down.
I have to scoop.
Yes, I get to this one and talk. He tells you what's up. Get to this one, you talk. Tells you what's up. And when it happened, everybody's like, wow. And I don't regret it. So that's it.
Today's Nollywood and how we project our culture. For instance, my last movie, Fediche, is just about Enugu. Yes, we emphasized more on our food, Oba. Trying to project Oba to the world. Yes, the idea is to take our local global, So I also know that there are actors who cannot make a film without bringing their language in that film, with or without telling them, like Uncle Chiwetalago and the rest of them. So I think it's also very important, just like what the Yorubas are doing with their big films, and the Jagun and the rest of it.
That is notable, but there's one thing I still see as a problem when it comes to these cultural disparities and stuff like that. Because I do not understand the reason why, maybe I should be channeling this to you. I do not understand the reason why you could be doing a film that basically is talking about an Igbo culture. And you will now see this producer bringing in a director who is not an Igbo to direct it.
I think I know where you're coming from.
There are certain things we know that in Igbo land is not obtainable. Just like when in our films you hear that the Igwe is dead. It is not something you commonly say. You can't really say an Igwe is dead in Igbo land until you announce the last Ofala.
Yeah.
But you now see when somebody who is not an Igbo comes to direct such a film, he won't have that idea of this is what our culture says about this because he or she is not Igbo. We are talking about our culture. And take it or you leave it. Nobody will tell your story more than yourself.
Because it's creative. It is your work. That's why anytime you call me to answer any question concerning what I did, I'll answer it with my chest out. It's my work. Hold on, let me come. I didn't make that mistake you thought I did. Why am I saying it? I called the Yoruba guy to come and do my series. It's a contemporary Igbo set film. You understand? As much as we're not speaking Igbo in it, but it's a contemporary Igbo film. I understand what you're saying. But I'm sure that I can't make that mistake because we had an AD who's an Igbo. Even him, and if you know me, I've not worked with you. If you have seen the way I produce film, you'll be thinking, some people will tell me, say, this is why they produce like director. Because I go this scene by scene. If I reshoot scenes, I reshoot scenes when I felt it was not shot well. I say, okay, I've done it, even with that love story. I reshot four scenes in that. When they were saying, later see it's not going back to the river, I said, oh, that one I shoot not do my film. Because I went to town to buy something and they fine girl, they were looking, I said, my film now, you go dirty.
No, but even at that, some other person could be seeing it because you know you are investing and you must have to get what you're putting inside.
What I'm trying to say, you're looking at it from a different, I'm trying to tell you why I chose a Yoruba film guy. Like this film I'm filming now, my English film, because we have three layers to it, 3 sets. One in US, the other one in Lagos, and the last one in the village.
Okay.
So it was natural, which is bringing me back to this thing you're saying. Because I don't even like, if you want to say it like that way, I don't even like how our people, when I say our people, all of us were there in Ibuna, I don't like the way it will be difficult for us to deal with the big screen in Nigeria because of what I know. You understand? So, but I don't give a shit. I just choose what will make my film better. That's what I'm always saying it. I'll prefer you as an Igbo man, yes, when you are competing with this guy. But if that is Hausa man, I'll be Cotonou man is better than you. Omo, sit down for Igbo land. I will use this guy to him because he's giving me a better picture.
That is the why.
So I used
that is the why, just like
that is why, yes. So that why I used that Yoruba guy to film it is that I just saw. We went on a test. I tested him. I shot 3 films with him before he started shooting as a big boy in this because I'm a very, very meticulous person. I know say I know too sabi. So I go use people with sabi.
Too much.
No, I know sabi. The work of a producer is just to make a good choice. You understand? Once you make good decisions, yes. So I know sabi. So I go use people with sabi. I called the guy after testing. He was saying, let's go. And I said, no, shoot 3 films first. He shot 1, 2, 3. I preview him, call people, check him. See, say, this guy is sabi. That's how I brought him. So before he came here, he's already here. Nobody could have changed it. Now, in this present film I'm talking about, this on the Rampage, I made a switch as well. Because he actually owns the film. But he directed in America. But because we are coming to shoot the Yoruba one, I paused him and said, hold on, I have to look for a Yoruba guy. Because this one is a proper Yoruba village. Ike grew up in Lagos. He speaks Yoruba fluently, but not to shoot Yoruba film. I have to use the same guy. So anybody can be telling his story. You understand? But I know the way. So cultural disparities, they certainly. My problem I have with us is that, Igbo man is that objective person that will always say, like what I'm saying. Because this Yoruba guy does it better. Igbo boy, pack. I want to use this guy because of my end result. I'll still make reference to this, my film on the Rampage. It's supposed to be, that village part was supposed to be an Igbo village. But the actor was using, started giving me wahala. I couldn't contain it. Meanwhile, because I shot with one Yoruba guy and one Igbo guy in that American home. But when we wanted to shoot, I planned the thing already towards Igbo now, of course, because of this thing we're saying now, my Igbo now. My Igbo. I used my Igbo guy. The Igbo guy started giving me wahala. But the Yoruba guy did not come by the way with how far had that film.
So it's about people.
It's people. But this Yoruba guy keeps knocking on. Now, he will call the guy and settle. So the help was, why should I leave the road and enter bush? It doesn't work like that because I'm a businessman.
No, good. You've just mentioned a point now, you're a businessman. Can I tell you something?
But
in every business you're doing,
works.
of course. There was a film I did in Lagos, Netflix in quote, so to say. Now, the guy who played the lead is a Yoruba guy. But the character he was portraying is Igbo. Now, for the guy to probably have given out what the director saw was all on me because we were filming alongside. Ordinarily, as an Igbo guy, There's no way I will expect him to like, because I am there and I am there, instead of calling Chuku, he say Chuku. Do you understand where
So
I'm
you were
coming
correcting
from?
him?
Of course. They have even shot some scenes even before I came.
Okay.
Now, in that film, I told them, I played a Dibia
Okay.
in the movie. I said, even in Igbo land, you cannot call any Dibia Dibia Brown.
Wow.
He must have a name that you know him with. So when I was now telling the producer, I was like, my brother, it's true, but what can we do now? We've shot XYZ. Okay. Characterization is part of it.
Also, let me cut you short here. Also, the story you are telling, you know, if you are talking about culture in your film, there is every need, even if you are not using, like for instance, an Igbo director to direct something about our culture. You can do Yoruba, you can do Hausa, you can do anybody, but you must have somebody to, you know, break down these cultures to this director, you know. And also, I agree with him that you have to think about the business, the commercial side of your film, unless you are making a documentary or you're just making a film for film purpose. There are people who just want to make a film. They don't have any reason of making this film. But if you are making a film for a particular platform, you have so many things to consider, regardless of the story you are telling. You also look at the strength of how commercial is the director on this platform. Is this director going to influence your film getting there? That is one. Also, you might be thinking about your brother to tell this story, being that Igbo, he knows our tradition and all that. Can that person also drive this film to where you are taking it to? So I think the best person for a particular project should go for it, so that the important thing there is telling the story right. If it's about language, get somebody to be there to make corrections. That's the essence of the first AD, the second AD too, and the rest of the crew members that are working together to bring a particular
Beyond these two people we mentioned, there are other people that are supposed to be hired on set. There are language instructors, there are translators, there are different things. I'm not sure I've heard of what's called acting coaches on set, because it's expected that the AD2 or AD1 will do that job. But then there are acting coaches. I remember a friend of mine who I think is a very fantastic actor, by the way, Ijoma Grace Agu. With all that I saw in her as a great actor, she was going on a particular set, and this lady was her coach, and every day they were walking. I say, is it not this normal acting everybody do? Really? But then she kept. So these are some of the few things we don't even consider when we work. So I wanted to come to you, but I think Brown has already addressed up to the point I wanted to address, because there's a big film which I think is one of the best films made, in the past decade, and it was a film that had told the story of the Igbo people. It was made by a crew of Yoruba people.
But they have Igbo producers.
Yes, they were.
So they did what they did right.
Exactly.
See that film? The film don't get comma.
You get it for me.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your comment.
Yeah, good.
For me, because the film, and that's also brought me to what I had wanted to say, because it's that same issue that made him to make mention of what he's saying.
Yes.
That guy is shooting another Igbo film.
Exactly.
And that one will be wonderful.
It is not the first one. Can I mention this film already?
My PM turned to producer now. How to produce that film. It's among producers. But it's not even about him. Because when they were doing it, when he told me about it, I said, guy, Tobe now. Tobe is one of the producers. His confidence was my confidence. And when the film showed up, I was interested to see him. I was telling Tobe, if you get wahala, I will hit you bad. When I see the film finish,
good film.
I tell him. That was even before all this blew out, the film coming out, because I saw the film.
I saw that
film
premiere.
was something.
And when they interviewed me on the red carpet, I was like, there's nothing to say.
That's nothing.
I was blown away.
To say, and let me say it here.
I
don't think that film is all about what they portrayed to be. That's the Igbo story.
Yes, now.
Let me tell you.
It's more of fatality fraud than the Igbo.
It doesn't matter. It's a story. It's a narrative. You
can never
That makes me feel like that story need to be maybe retold better.
What story?
the Nwaboy story.
It's not him for him to do. No, I disagree with this totally.
Another person is even making the Nwaboy gist. Now, film no be talk. We can sit here and talk forever. When the film comes, you slot it, you watch, you rate it. So it has nothing to do with who made the film. It is your creation.
But they sold the film with the concept of a Nwaboy, and the truth is that what we saw there is probably 2% of.
No, I disagree.
So that's your own ground.
What movie can be made by any human being alive that will tell the entire story of the Nwaboy?
Good.
Let me,
just a good guy settling the boy and.
I know, but oh my God, it's not a documentary. It's a film. It's a narrative.
I understand.
It's a picture.
But they sold more of you blackmailing a friend because you are the owner of the son than the Nwaboy.
Can I say something?
Say what?
Exactly.
Now, from the context I was coming from, based on this project you're talking about now, I can possibly or probably tell you that this is a project. You know the people you're hiring. In a situation whereby even when the AD is making that correction because this is his field, even the director will just wait and listen. Not a director that you will now bring in, okay, I'm an Igbo guy doing a Yoruba film, which I don't understand the culture. And the AD is a Yoruba guy who would tell me this is what is obtainable. Understand where I'm coming from?
It's threat.
It is threat because when you have a big project, which is capital intensive, you know too well you can't afford to make a mistake.
Bro, let me tell you.
Even when you do that smaller one, coming from where you're coming from, as in somebody who is an investor, do you understand me? Understand where I'm coming what I'm talking about? Can you now, okay, how do you now see Nollywood of today, based on this cinema thing, compare it with when you came to McDevils and Nico? The divergence is not here.
Okay, so, but let me even say this. First of all, there are Igbo filmmakers that tell terrible Igbo stories.
Of course, I know.
A million of them are there.
I thought you said there are many.
Even in Hollywood,
It's not about, so I was going to talk about, there's a movie called Slumdog Millionaire. It's an Indian narrative story. It was not made, it's called a British film. But it's an Indian story. Right? So my problem with whatever anyone would say, I can't even hear what anybody says about film that is negative. I can't hear it. I cannot. Because it has to be all positive. The reason is this. Okay, someone was even talking about the title, An Nwaboy Story. Jesus, it was very artistic. That it's supposed to be a Nwaboy story. No, it's not Nwaboy. It's not Nwaboy. It's Igbo. It's Nwa. So it's An Nwaboy story. So it's perfect. And whoever created that thing, I don't just think
Lorenzo,
yes.
They did their research.
Wow.
So, like Wakanda I'm talking about, if you check it from this perspective you're using to judge Alpha Mefuna, we will be Africans, we go kill all that studio that did it.
I don't want to mention this today.
Okay, no. I know. No, I'm talking about Wakanda. I'm even talking about Wakanda.
Okay,
if you look at it well, you will just say, whose story is this? It's absolutely nobody's story. From your point.
Yeah, and they said it.
Yes, from your point.
Yes,
that's what I'm saying. So, but I'm not looking.
It's not an Igbo
I'm not looking at the story the way it is. I'm looking at the art, the creation. Somebody is telling something. The important thing is that person is, because film is one thing. It's film. Film is wayo now. It's cheat.
What you give to them.
You understand? They draw something that will keep you on your toes. Keep you on your toes. And you said, Omo, if you can't talk anything about Wakanda, if you bring mouth for Alpha Mefuna, don't do that.
It's just like what Edimofe did with Coming to America. The idea is not it's just to project a people. And do you know how many cultures are in Africa? Meanwhile, if you don't even understand, ask the question, is it language or the culture we're talking about? Because you can actually tell a story in English, but it's a cultural story. It's just like the war, the Civil War, the Nigerian Civil War, for instance. So when Chimamanda wrote Half of a Yellow Sun, it's actually about the Biafran War.
Yeah.
But if you watch or read the story, you know it's just a love story about two people and what happened to them.
Okay, was set on that time.
And that is but somebody might watch it and say, this is not how this was. I didn't hear it when I watched it. No.
Just like
My father met my mom during the war. met my mom's, that's my grandfather, my mom's father, and they were taking a walk. And I said, my family is there. And when they got there, I said, wait, this is your daughter. We don't marry. That is actually a story on its own. That happened during the war. And that is exactly what
just from your grandfather's perspective.
Okay, apparently the war was going on and your father was...
Yes, he found love during the war.
Okay. But at the same time, do you know this same film that we're talking about is that's why I brought into your idea of creative. Do you know if you take a particular script and give it to 10 different directors, they will come up with 10 different perspectives of interpretation?
10 different films.
Don't worry, you see another guy. This is coming with another one. And there are different ways. And then also Afia, which is different from there's Afia that is different from Ibaboy. There are two different things.
Yeah, I agree.
Also Afia.
Not also Afia is different from Ibaboy.
That's not boy.
Afia, you came to learn.
I know what I mean is talking about also Afia, somebody can even create another story tomorrow. Who
did also Afia? The documentary.
Oh
yeah, I think I know it's someone here. Is it TC? Yes, Afia did. The documentary, which is not the same as it's the guy is not attached to anywhere. He's just there.
Was explained as apricot in Afamefna.
That's what it is. It's also part of the film, but it's actually not. It's It's not entirely.
It's like you're not part of this.
But you can pretend to be part of it and help to sell the business and add your own. Actually, it's a precaution.
Yes,
it has a bit of it on it.
There's a reason why there is quantity. In fact, that's the story I can tell well.
Good.
And it's actually the quantity that made us number 2 in the world.
To do with the business.
Yes.
Purely business.
Yes.
So I want to understand it because I think I'm too young to have experience.
The truth is that without quantity, we won't have the quality. As far as Nollywood is concerned. And the bet of Nollywood has a lot to do with the quantity. But without the quantity, which started on the street, we have quality. It's the quantity that gave birth, because we'll be churning out those films that made us number 2, because they were coming from different people in their village. People are selling their lands, gathering money. Brothers will this one will bring 1 million, 1 million, 3 million. They were just trying to turn it into like pepper in the market, selling, making film to sell to get the money and sell again, to put the VHS and you understand. So it was like that when he was saying that one film 1 year from me was because I was just trying to, I was struggling because I just noticed that platform was not. This is where I should belong. But then people were doing 3 films per year. They would do bam. To sell, you shoot today, after 2 months, you've released, you take the money back. By that time, I will shoot to one, I'll be leaving my money in the hand of my secured market. As when I want to shoot again, they'll bring it back. Because we have to make, if we're 100 that time, and you're seeing 100 films, it's still small. So we're churning out films because that's to sustain our family. These countries I called, they were doing it for art. Because before, some of the films you see them bring, the Kenya or Cameroon, even Cameroon where they beside all of them don't study film, but their film is coming from their film council. You see that parliament will sit down and talk about the story that constitute. The film were coming out to compete with 4 million naira or 5 million naira film. Meanwhile, their budget is about 15 million, as at 10, 20 years ago. So how do you compete? They're not doing theirs for commercial like we do.
So so like what you wanted to say, what I wanted to say, I can't say again because you just made a point that I like and I think is very valid because it's out of the many that we can have the few that are good. And it makes absolute sense, and I appreciate that. Thank you, because I never saw it from that perspective, and now I can see. And why I can see is maybe even the quantity made the world shine the light on us. That is why we can even make the quality ones. Yes. Because I think that's
competition.
Yes.
Because it was still going back to these Yoruba guys. And the people, they know that administratively, they know this. What's the name of TK? Even before TK, yes. Even before Kule comes on board. TK will just sit down and do it because most of the money the film he makes is also not from like our own part where we go to the house and sell your land. He still gets money. So people that will make those films that are big, you have to. It was when I started attending film workshops and film schools activities. The first time I heard it, I was like, my head blew up. I said, also I've not been a filmmaker. You understand? Universal Studios, their marketer that year was an Igbo guy that was born and bred in America. I was sat us down, we were talking about business of film. I just said, any day you're shooting film with your money, means that you're not making film.
You're not making film.
Sure, because all the films
I'm here to make movie there.
Meanwhile, people have been begging me, give me money, I will run because I don't want them to chase me with police, you know, that kind of thing. You understand? But this man also say this and I say, I begin to research. Can you imagine after 10 or 15, 20 years in an industry? You see that our head is not thinking the same way that our competitors.
I think I know why. As a nation, Nigeria is a philosophy that we all have lived. So every industry we find ourselves, we are Nigerians.
Yes.
Our minds are so conditioned down there. Tokumbo. It has to be down there. And I think that's what happened with the industry. So, and I know where it's happening now. There's a group of people in the sub part of this industry where each time you tell them what they say, leave us, we like it. They don't care about, and they keep saying it. And you know where I'm coming from, you know. No, they say, leave us. And I said, nobody's holding you. But then in the long run, you'd find out that even those ones that invest well, and they plan well, of course, you have to discuss distribution before you even go on set.
It's the end. Before the beginning, it's the end.
If you plan well, you're going to enjoy it more. And the reason we respected Ezugwu back in the day a lot, he was doing it well.
As a Nigerian, you are always struggling to survive because we are all existing. You might not do what you want, but you have to do what you need to do to keep moving.
And I think it's okay to have the quantity. I mean, it's not a problem.
No, the truth is that you can't even take it away.
Yeah,
you can't stop.
You can't.
Any day the quantity dies in Nigeria,
you can't.
even those big films die.
Even in the Hollywood that we're talking about, they have.
Yes.
Hollywood has it. The Tyler Perry's that we're celebrating today came from that part.
Straight up.
Bollywood has it.
Because that's what is feeding everybody.
Yeah.
I can tell you and take it to the bank. Without those low budget films, there is nothing. We go to festivals and some actors that will tell you they don't act in those small budget. You go come on the street, nobody know you now.
Yeah, true.
But it's the ones that are shooting those films, those cheap ones. They are the ones that are stars. So even if you get sense as an actor, you have to go and beg the ones doing it and Sabah and Enugu here to come and help your career. Yes, now I can say it for sure.
You mentioned something that about funding and how people were some of these countries are. So the question I'm asking, especially for you people that have been there long before I came in now, is why do we have do we have grants by our government, or do we even have, I don't know, what's happening? Because I mean, if government is helping with the industry in South Africa, in Rwanda right now, in Kenya, in Botswana, these guys every year, in fact, how you know, like you said, is traveling around, attending festivals, film festivals around the world. What do you think about the state of things and how the government is supposed to be involved? It's something I'd love to talk about, but I'd like to hear from you first before I say what I think.
I don't have good news about it, Sha. Because I will always want to be realistic.
So have you ever got a grant from the government?
Yes.
Oh, you have?
Yes.
Interesting.
Jonathan did.
Wow.
His own, I think it was because of, he wanted to remove the subsidy now.
Okay.
So I think it was one of those prep things he was doing UWIN, Project Art, and some other things that he wanted to use to help, to kind of, because it was about, how much? I think it's about 5 or 6 million. And I shot the film, yes.
Was it the entire budget for you, or just a part of what you wanted
It's
to
a
do?
part of.
Okay.
You understand? Because it was actually a cinema film I used it to do. I added it to. But
What's
I'm
the
sure.
name of the film?
4 on Love. That's where
Oh!
I got my money.
Okay.
The
nice
cost of
film
the film
too.
is about
Nice.
11 point something million, but
Yeah,
I collected 5 million from them. So, because we needed to, Conduwell was very, very interested in showing what you used it for.
But it's coming from where you're coming from. for me, let me not ask because I know you're from the financial aspect of it. Grant in quotes, do you think that is the best thing the government can do for this industry? Because left for me, I think it is better we have such an environment other than government giving you money. If the government can put these checks into place, my brother, I can beat my chest to tell you that even if you're putting 20 million in a film, you are sure, other than now that we have different platforms where we are coming from. Because some people can make bold to say that maybe Afuluagu is part of the old Nollywood, new Nollywood that like they are talking about. But at the end of the day, government has a role to play. Do you know how many people this industry have put off the streets? If we are talking about employment, that I can beat my chest to tell you that Nollywood entertainment industry is part of that industry that has given job opportunities to the youths out there.
Correct, you're correct.
So for me, I expect the government coming into into the industry fully, other than coming to give anybody any money. Just like you said, Okonji Iweala said that if you do not use this money judiciously, they will come after you, even when you're not paying back. Because eventually, if probably that clause was not put there, maybe somebody like you, because you're passionate and you know what you want, there are people that got such grants and they had nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
But
so left for me, government giving us money might be part of it. But most importantly, creating an enabling environment. And then appreciating this industry for putting most of the youths off the streets. And this is an industry that you can't say, I am too old, I am retiring. Even if you're 200 years, you can still play a role where you can do a narrative film.
Wow.
Do you understand me?
Yeah.
So for me,
You're right.
yes, government's giving money. Somehow. Not really good,
yeah,
but
you're right.
let's have an
That's
enabling environment
one
where
of
they
the
will
kind of-
control.
But for me, it's beyond that. I'm looking at regulating the industry. I'm looking at making sure that things have been checked properly. Not just the kind of story we tell. I think why we see America as the best place in the world is because of how they sell their country to us. And I believe it's because even before you make such projects, they already have a template. If your project is not going this angle, they are not even giving you a permit. For instance, in Enugu, government supported my government as AGN chairman, yes, but we started by also giving out to government, and that is what I feel Nollywood are also not doing. Yes, when I won my election as the chairman, the first thing we did is to go to the state government through the Commissioner for Culture and Tourism, and we said, we've not done anything for this government as a people. So what do we do? But we also have something in mind. We want to sell Enugu to the world through film. So we started with documentaries of cultural sites, tourist centers in Enugu. We did Unity Park, which was the attraction for government. Yes, so when we are done with filming, with the filming of the documentary of Unity Park, we are invited for the inauguration of that park. And there, the governor saw the documentary and felt, okay, if we can do this, we can do more. We had to have meetings with him and agreed on projecting Enugu. Today, Ifediche pronounced Enugu State everywhere in the world. America, Toronto, AMVCA, it has all the nominations and the awards it could win. So government should help us look into the activities of, if for instance my guild that I lead, AGN, happens to be a union, a government union instead of an organization, I think we will do better. I think the last incident we have may not have occurred because there will be regulatories that people, you know that, okay, if you as a producer fails not to provide securities, for instance, for your actors and something happens, you go to jail for that. Like you have a court that you will face, but not when there is a bylaw by Actors Guild of Nigeria, a producer will be somewhere to say, for what? This thing is just for actors. What will it contribute in building me as a producer? Then the producers will bring their own bylaw. An actor will say, how? This won't work. You know I am the star you are using. If not for me, you won't sell your film. So we need government to look into our laws, like look into how we operate and help us to shape things properly. So it's beyond money.
I personally think it's going to be difficult at this point because the industry is no longer very young, and a lot of people are succeeding without whatever you guys think you want to achieve by inviting the government. So at the end of the day, you see there are people that are already even representing us at the Emmys, at the Oscars. Some of them are members of the jury, some of them are members of the board internationally, and that's because of what they did in Nollywood. And they're just, doing their thing and going global, So, but then it's a matter of now starting within the industry. First of all, put your house together. If you need a force to do it, then there's a problem. So if I have a guild that I belong, and it's called Actors Guild of Nigeria, for instance, and I need to speak extra English from whatever I represent to be protected, I don't know how else. I don't know, except the regulation or rules or whatever that is guiding the guild is limiting them from performing. I don't know, but I've seen a few things which tells me that if I belong to a guild, it feels like even the marketers of old were stronger, because at least they will come together and suspend the actor and do this and all that.
Marketers has never suspended any actor. It's still the guild that does that.
No. In the days of the days that they suspended 10.
What you're saying, you were right when marketers imposed suspended actors.
Yes.
All right. But at the end of the day, I can make bold statement
to say that
what they did worked against them.
No, I'm not saying.
Do you know why? Because you cannot quantify talent with money.
No, I know.
Do you understand that fact?
I'm just trying to tell you about understanding, being.
No, I know you're here. I see. I don't mind, even if it means we fighting. Let it be obvious that
what I'm trying to say
fought
basically is
on the national television.
Yeah,
you understand?
I don't know if this is national television.
It can be aired anywhere. The point is that if you're calling me to give me a job as an actor,
okay,
it's left for me to look at your conditions. If it's okay for me, fine and good. But if it is not okay for me, you cannot tell me because you're paying me. With due respect, with what we know that has been all around the net. Do you understand me? If I see something I feel doesn't go down well with me, I won't accept it because you hired me.
Are you talking about Junior Pope, sir?
No. Something like that.
Okay, because it's not something we'll run away from. But
no, we cannot run away from it.
In the mix of all this things, we're saying what happened to all of us and what is happening, why it seems impossible, is because Nigeria is what is happening to Nigeria is happening to us.
Nigeria is what it is.
Yes, it's Nigeria that is happening to us. I'm always saying it. When that thing happened, I did Abiyokuta the film. My siblings started calling me because we did shoot for water. As in this film while they talk this. That time, she's called me immediately. Somebody that lives in the US now that knows about. So angry. My younger sister, she was, if you see the way she was talking to me. I should just get out from that place, that if anything happens to me, I was laughing. It got to a point I have to put the phone aside and put it inside the pocket because she doesn't understand what she's saying. You understand? One of my actors was supposed to film prior to that incident. And the guy just came and whispered to me, "Oh man, don't you feel enter water?" I look at him. I say, I wish. That was even before the Junior Pope's. I said, I wish you told me this thing before we started. Because I would have remove you from the thing and put another person. Because
it was that he was going to film in a river.
It was not obvious. It's just because this is my first time of doing this kind of film I'm doing now. So I'm doing everything to get it right. And immediately the director said, I need a total big river, not small one where they swim. So the guy just came there and said, I'm not doing it. I look at him and I said, the truth is that I don't force actors. Assuming he told me that thing from the onset, I'm sure he will not be playing that role. Okay. That's the truth. But that time I said it, we don't enter. I can't go back.
And we don't enter.
See now, story on my own.
People
when they watch this film, don't go know how the story is.
Yes.
Say director, let's not argue about it. I beg. Give to Caesar what to do. Don't carry the guy. I don't shoot for Bini. We enter what I make we shoot. It was this thing. Some people don't turn to what I turned as a film producer, I turned to prayer warrior.
Hey.
Me and my director, I said, director, we can't leave. I'm telling you the truth. That BOE we shot, people started turning to what I don't know. They do like this, like what that. Even guys, not be only. I was thinking that woman thing. So we became prayer. Because some people don't turn to that. That is the swim. We have to. You understand? So when that man said that thing, I just told him, day or day. I said director, maybe change them. I asked him lieutenant because now Yoruba Bale, the guy is a Bale.
Okay.
So I asked one of the guys when they speak for him, I say, director will go change them, saying that this guy can't do it because they are coming to the river to swear. We don't already do the location when they shoot. You understand? The guy worked. And he shot it finally. Because in the same Nigeria that is happening to us, producers' mindset is always on how much am I spending? I need to save money. If the producer said, I don't have money for life jacket, I have to have the right. We are not going there
without life jacket.
You understand? So we not go sort yourself out.
Yeah.
If you don't feel sort out, nobody should force
you shoot at the bank of
to
the river.
enter. In fact, some people cannot, from what I experienced in Blood of Enugu, some people should not even near the river. If they tell you that, because you don't know who they are.
You don't know who they are, you don't know where they're coming from.
Do you know the truth is that I can't even do that thing that they did though. I've shot in Sierra Leone now. We landed. They can't tell us that the aircraft is having problem. The other one is having problem. That we should follow boat. We will now enter boat. And so I crack myself. I'm trying to tell you how I fear water. Some people still there inside that boat without anything. They follow us. And they look them like spirit. I say, these guys, as they work out, so fish they fly. Because at the end of where your eyes, I don't know this animal, at the end of where your eye is seeing is a water. You can't see anything. Be like you're driving inside sea. So my heart was like this till we crossed there.
The reason people want to achieve this is that they have 1 million naira to make a film, but they are too ambitious. Instead of focusing on the story of Obi is a boy and Ada is a girl and stay in one room to shoot.
You don't want to go and
they want to cross the river.
Because of this system that is not regulated, even as we are speaking now, I'm sure some people are somewhere crossing river. They're not wearing life jackets.
Matter of fact.
The producer called me for a job. That is why till tomorrow, if I'm going for any job, I would demand I have the scripts. After reading the scripts, I will negotiate with you. Now he called me this.
You used to go. I don't understand. You go on set before without negotiating. Okay, go.
No. Me, I'm just telling you that is what I do.
Okay.
Some will just some producers will call you. They will like, how much is your fee? I said, don't ask me such a question. I need to see your script. Only for me to land there. They said they were waiting for the Hausa man to come. At the end of the day, the guy came with some wooden box of snakes. I say, me, act with snake. The script where there is snake, don't read them.
Charmed. So,
and they're telling me the snake has been charmed, that nothing will happen. My brother, I did not do that job, even as I speak to you now.
So that means you didn't know that there was going to be a scene like
it wasn't like that.
It's not about what it should be. It's about the truth.
Reality.
The fact is the fact we can deny. The truth we should apply. The truth is there are lots of things that should be done in a certain way.
That is not going.
But you cannot. In fact, you cannot even do it in that right way immediately because it's going to even ruin everything. Because as it is now, nobody should be on any set without signing a contract.
Which is what we used to enjoy then. Minimum of 2 weeks, which is 14 days.
So these are things that should be done. But why is it that the biggest films, the biggest series, after every time you'll still see somebody that will tweet and say, we worked together, you took my credit. And it's always happened with the biggest budgets in Nollywood. Why?
But when you want to do something that is bigger, like once you're shooting film, you begin to involve American actors, people that are not in Nigeria. You see, you go follow.
When I was the chairman of Actors Guild of Nigeria, if you come to register in Enugu, if you come to register and you are underage, and when I mean you're underage, you're below 18, I will make sure you get a letter from your parents that they are where you want to do this?
For me, an actor can tell you, Brown, I want to be in this your project. See, don't worry about payment. Don't worry about my accommodation. If I can even join you in your own apartment. What is that person trying to do? You get? So if it's about sexual harassment, I think it has a lot to do with the production managers and the producers, especially men, yes, and the film directors too. These are people who see a lot and without saying it out. So the thing is, you as the filmmaker, what do you want for your film? Will you go and tell African Magic, it's because I slept with her, that is why she played the lead and couldn't deliver? Nobody will take that.
Okay, let me give you an instance. I was on a project that was back in 2011, 2012, with very stubborn filmmaker. I love him. He was directing a film, and then suddenly this girl walks in on set and says, "Hey, somebody wants to talk to you on the phone." Ikenna picks the phone, and it was the owner of the film, the executive producer, that is the marketer then. So, and he says, give her a role, surely a sub-lead, or give her some roles that she will speak, and, you know, Ikenna has done day one, and Ikenna never know. If you have done the casting, it's done. And it doesn't matter, he just told her, I'm sorry, sir, yeah, I know you're the one bringing the money for this project, but you see this girl, she will be in the extras in church. This industry is an industry where people don't say the right no's and they don't say the right yeses. Everybody's just, that is what we need to keep telling ourselves the truth. And things can go, I think somebody on Twitter, there's a lady, a film director that I love a lot. She tweeted about this, about a director that was called out by someone. This girl gave evidence that this director harassed her. And she tweeted on the same day that this director was going to premiere his film. And the people you know, who and who, la cream or whatever of the industry, were going for that premiere. So the question is, so why is everybody going for the same premiere of this same person that some girl came out to? So that's why it feels like, because there's no law. Nobody, how do we help it? It's Nigeria happening to us, like he said. There's nothing we can do. But elsewhere,
you don't try that.
That person will no longer make a film. You have to be responsible for the mess up. If you mess up, you'll be responsible, and every investment you have will go down with that thing you did. That is how it is.
Insisting on what you're saying. If you remember initially, I talked about government giving us enabling environment. Everything is not about probably money or grant as it may.
My contribution in this conversation is that, yes, sexual harassment is in the system. But, talking to whoever that wants to hear, do not let those harassment deter you
from what you want.
From what you're doing. So, because if you think you have moved from one set to another and they've been harassing you, I beg, visit my set. Nobody's going to harass you. If you're not well, if you don't know how to act, don't come.
Don't come. Now, when you come into the industry, set boundaries for yourself. Definitely. Do you understand me? But that will not prevent you from socializing, familiarize with everybody, and be consistent and be ready to work on yourself. These are the things that will make you, in fact, let me say it. No producer, no director, no executive producer, no name it, that will make you a star.
If you're coming in as a new actor, I think you just have to be focused and also forget about passion. Nollywood have overgrown being passionate about this. You want to come and act. Just know that you are coming here to make a living, yes, to earn a living rather. You are coming to put food on your table. As such, you must be serious about it.
I used to jokingly tell people, I don't run an academy in Okey Productions. What we run is to finish, we're looking for finished product. So if you're good, don't come and want to learn on my set because we don't have time and money.
One of the best things to do as a filmmaker is to learn. As an actor, is to learn. Learn when you watch. People just want to act because that's how they act. act, but learn. Watch people beyond, visit sets maybe if you have
train
friends.
yourself.
Just always study. In fact, I'm a Christian though, and I'd like to talk about it. The Bible says somewhere that to show yourself, she said study to show yourself.
Yes.
And approve the workman that needs not be ashamed. That's actually talking about showbiz. It says study to show yourself. So if you don't study, don't come.
We have started, we're going to end.
You're always a player.
I love playing games. Rumor has it that certain movies fake box office numbers. Is it true? No.
You don't want me to say the title of the movie? I think, certain movies, not just one.
Yeah, certain movies do.
That's true.
Okay.
So I'll go your name, your movie.
God, nah.
What are they trying to portray?
No, okay, you. Okay. Mine is small. Who would you say is your favorite actor?
Mine is the wine. It's just in mine.
Genevieve Nnaji.
Yes.
First is the wine.
Why would you take my favorite actress?
Okay.
Why would you do
so
that?
It's just, okay, Genevieve Nnaji. My
From
favorite
Colorado.
female, Genevieve Nnaji. My favorite male, there's a guy they call Basoj Taria Jr. I'm not sure you guys remember this guy.
Excuse me.
When I was growing up, no, you will, I'm sure. But when I was growing up, I didn't want to be anybody else but Basoj.
Okay. Rumor again. Rumor has it that a certain Nigerian film award are rigged, with winners predetermined by industry insiders.
Huh?
didn't get that.
I didn't hear it. I don't want to hear it. Don't read it again, but I didn't hear it.
Repeat.
I will read again.
Thank you.
Rumor has it that a certain Nigerian film awards are rigged, with winners predetermined by industry
I've had
insiders.
4 nominations without winning. AMVCA.
Does that make it?
Because
you have 4 nominations without winning.
let me tell you why I feel so. The last AMVCA, we had 5 films in my category, the Igbo indigenous category.
Okay.
Yes, and eventually the film that won was a film that was nominated the previous year and couldn't win. Same title.
That's
when
very
we know we had better titles, better films.
Apart from better title, that it has
If
been
you have
there.
submitted a film
in
before.
It was submitted the previous
the next one.
edition.
Nne was nominated for 2022 AMVCA and didn't win, and got to 2023 and won
that was so
the
wrong.
likes of
Maybe
Ife
they made
Eche
mistake.
and Bright Prize.
Is that
But that
film
is
is-
Well, that means the question or rumor has it that it's true. It's true.
AMVCA.
Let me just blindly check it. Have you ever been blacklisted in the film industry?
Yes. As the chairman of Actors Guild of Nigeria, Enugu State Chapter, when I was on set, I will always stand my feet to say no to what I feel is not right. The issue of having an artist on 3 jobs at the same time, I raised the alarm at the initial time, and they were like, it's because they are not giving you jobs. Now, because I was doing that, it became a problem.
So they blacklisted you.
No, it was obvious. You remember the story I'm talking
I
about?
remember the story, but trust me,
You were not blacklisted.
Rumor has it that a certain producer doesn't pay his actors.
It's common within
I like to have names here.
these users, people who do not have budget for their project.
A thief is a thief. Rumor has it that a certain producer doesn't pay his actors. Call names, I beg. And don't give me another reason, not that he doesn't have money. If you don't have money, don't go to the location.
If you don't have money, don't start.
The thing is that I'm trying to find a name that pays.
Yes.
Apart from you.
Well, I wouldn't know because
Apart from you, I don't know.
any job I'm going into,
I don't pay.
once I have
say
our
that
negotiation
now.
and we agree. Do you understand me?
Apart from you, when I'm the producer.
No, I mean, I think it should be the
If I
other
don't
way
have
around.
money to pay you, I'll tell you from.
But what about the producer that pays only the big guys and don't pay the
Evil is evil.
Okay, did you ever date any actor, female, in your younger film days?
Even on now, sir.
I will raise my hands up. I did, but no need telling you the name.
Since
Of which everybody knew. I did. And do you know why? You see, I'm this kind of person that whatever thing I'm doing, I'm proud I'm doing it.
Yes.
Do you understand?
You were in a very long relationship.
I think I can answer to that. It wasn't in my younger age. I don't know what it means to be a younger age.
Okay. Like,
Well,
I see you when you
Right now.
Whatever it is.
I'm currently on it. You know?
Okay, you're currently on it.
Yeah.
Time has gone past. But I will just say, for viewers out there who are watching, I will tell you it's been a tough one. But life is what it is. Whatever thing you know you cannot defend, starting it will not be a problem, but finishing it will be a problem. Whatever thing you do with anybody and you see the person on the road and bend down your head in shame, that means you know it's not worth it. Don't do it.